Hello everyone, good morning. How's life? Do you have a great day? I hope all of you have a good performance starting this day. So my name is Isa and then there are Almas Desianti and Nuriati. So today we are going to present about morality in classroom interaction. So here we go. So the first is definition of morality. Morality is the belief that some behavior is right and acceptable and the other behavior is wrong. A morality is a system of principles and values concerning people's behavior, which is generally accepted by a society or by a particular group of people. Morality refers to the set of standards that enable people to live cooperatively in groups. It is what societies determine to be right and acceptable. And the second is the moral dimension of classroom discourse. There are three parts. The first is classroom rules and regulation. The second is expressive morality. And then the last is the curricular substructure of ESL. So let's discuss it one by one.
Classroom rules and regulations. The rules and regulations deemed to be essential for the conduct and well-being of the classroom's inhabitants include rules of conduct such as how to ask questions or participate in classroom events. Jackson et al. In 1993 suggested that such rules come close to constituting an explicit moral code that all of the students in the room are expected to obey. While you are making the rules, consider making the consequence as well. In order for students to respect the rules, they have to realize what's going to happen when they break them. Give students hypothetical situations and ask them to develop consequences based on shared classroom values. Even if you decide to make the consequences on your own, don't think that being unnecessarily harsh will earn you respect. If you truly want to build an efficient and positive learning environment, you should always keep the best interest of your students in mind. Be able to explain consequences when students ask. Take circumstance into account. An unusually egregious offense needs to be escalated more quickly than a small classroom disturbance. Apply the rules consistently so students learn the value of responsibility.
And the second is expressive morality. Expressive morality describes the often extremely subtle ways in which moral judgment about what is good and bad, right and wrong, and conveyed in the classroom. So as a teacher, we have to do good in front of our students because students will follow the good and the bad things that teachers do because teachers are students' role model. So be good in front of them. And then expressive morality resides not just in the words teachers use, but also in their tone of voice, in their facial expression and gestures, and in elements such as the arrangement of chair in the classroom or the decor on the walls. So we also have to concern about the tone of voice that we use and then the expression that we use when we teach them, and then the arrangement of the chair. Maybe we can make a circle or maybe else just try something that makes students feel comfort in the class, and then maybe we can decor the walls. It can make the class more interesting, right?
Next is about the curricular substructure of ESL. The curricular substructure comprises conditions that operate to sustain and facilitate every teaching session in every school in every subject within the curriculum. These conditions thus underlie the form of content of curricula in different subjects. According to Jackson et al. In 1993, these conditions have two outstanding qualities. They are seldom explicitly acknowledged by either teacher and students, and they are imbued with moral meaning. The curricular substructure can be thought of as enabling conditions. Curriculum, as the foundation of teaching and learning process, covers subject matters and students' learning experience from inside and outside of school.
Values and curriculum. First is values in the textbook, and the second is morality in phonology. Let's discuss about the first thing is values in the textbooks. Published materials are major presence in classroom. Why? Teachers and students spend a lot of time with them. And the second is, in many places there is no formal written curriculum, and so materials such as course books constitute a de facto curriculum in themselves. As we know together, everything else in classrooms, such as textbooks and other materials, convey morally significant messages. We can get moral value from textbook. It's from picture or maybe from the lesson that we learn in teaching learning session. Teacher and students spend a lot of time with them. Most of teachers using book as their media or materials in transferring the lesson. So we know that the textbook provides everything. It should be provides everything, including moral value also. And the second, in many places there is no formal written curriculum. Yes, the curriculum is ourself, is the teacher's self. It's not depend on the textbook or materials, but the real curriculum is ourselves. So we put ourselves as the curriculum. No formal written curriculum. So it can be changed. It will be changed every period. It should be adjust year by year. For example, for the students that are not able to learn by visual, maybe they are able to study by audio. So curriculum, it should be adjust with the needs, with the student needs. Next is morality in phonology. Speakers of English all over the world have become somewhat more familiar with different accents and dialects of their own language. Yet, this familiarity has done little to change the accents themselves or attitudes toward them.
So that's all from us. Thank you very much for your great attention. I hope it will be benefit for all of you. See you. Thank you.